All right. Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who I don't know, who I haven't had the chance to meet, I am Abdul Malik Harrison. I am an assistant director in the Center for Race, Ethnicity, Diversity Education, also known as the CREED, and I'm over Black Student Success Initiatives, and it's a beautiful sight to see everybody here. So thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. I will now have our panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll get right into the panel.
My name is Donald McLaughlin. I'm a graduate of Elon College in 1976. I was inducted into the Elon College Hall of Fame in 1985. Have 3 kids, and I currently live in South Carolina. And I'm very glad to be here, to see so many faces. And when I was here, there was not many faces of color here when I was here. But I'm so glad to see the diversity of the school has made such an impact on my life and here now. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I am Janet Williams. I'm the Vice President for Finance and Administration and Chief Financial Officer here at Elon University. I've been with Elon in this role for about 5 years. I am an Elon parent, and I'm really honored to be asked to be on this panel with such distinguished other panelists. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gail Fonville Parker. I'm a graduate of Elon in 1970. I am currently a retired mom, grandma, great-grandma. I've served in different capacities over the years. One of the ones that I served in was the capacity for building my own child care center and nurturing other people's children. Matter of fact, I've had some young women that went to school here or worked here have their children come to our center. But nonetheless, it's just really amazing to come back and see all of the new buildings, all of the new everything, because all of that was not here in 69 and 70. It sure wasn't. But it's always a pleasure to have you invite me. I love seeing all of your beautiful faces, and I just say, keep the torch going.
Good afternoon. My name is George Talbert, otherwise known as Coach. I teach sales and marketing. I'm so incredibly humbled to have the opportunity to be a part of this amazing group of panelists. So to be totally transparent, I can't wait to see how they respond. To our students, if you need jobs, please see me. If you need jobs, please see me. And I also wanted to give a shout out to many of those that I coach and mentor. And I'd also like to give a shout out to my students in my sales management class.
Shout out to them. Shout out to the students. All right, so we're going to get right into it. The first question that I have for you all, I want to take a trip down memory lane, right? Go back to you all's roots. If you could share how your roots shaped how you handled resistance throughout your journeys.
I have to say that resistance and things exist in life, and you have to understand that they're there. But the more important thing is that you are able to handle them by being authentic, by being brave, and by trusting that you know yourself better than anyone else. As in, when you do those things, I think you always will find that there's a rainbow at the end of the road. But one thing that's more important that I really think the most of is that when you know yourself, the world knows you. And so I really think that when we do these things, and recently I have been on a journey to know myself much better than I thought I knew myself before, but I didn't know myself. I know myself better now because I have taken the journey to know myself. And I tell everyone that one day you're going to come to that point, you're going to ask that question, who am I? And all the things you've done in life, I still can answer who was I until I say the last 4 or 5 years when I've started to look for myself and understand what makes me a good person, what makes me a bad person, and understand that both of those are total of what makes me. So that resistance that you face, because you're always going to face resistance. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like you because of the color of your skin. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like you because you wear your hair different. But you always know yourself. You can come through anything that they bring to you and accomplish what you want to accomplish. Thank you.
I would say that I have to go back. My roots really goes back to my beginning. It really goes back to how I was raised and my parents. My father was a pastor for 50 years. My mother was a postpartum nurse for 40 years. So you can imagine they instilled in all their children a sense of service, of giving back and paying it forward and helping others. And so that was instilled in me at a very young age. And I look back over my career and the different positions that I've had, the positions that I've loved the most were the ones where I felt like I was helping my customers or my constituents and helping them achieve their goals. So I have to say that really instilled in me that you really want, if you'll go through the pain if you really want to solve the problem or achieve your goals. They also instilled in us a sense of self-determination, that if you really, really love something, if you really, really want to accomplish something, then go through the effort of putting in the extra work. So it's so important to make sure that you find your passion, you find your core, you find what that thing is that you really, really love to do, and then you'll overcome any resistance. You'll knock down those barriers, you'll go over it, you'll go around it, you'll go under it, but it really is about serving others, in my opinion, and self-determination.
Thank you. Thank you. Gail and George, I want to kind of follow up on that question. And Janet, you kind of touched on it in your answer. The people behind you, pushing you forward to continue to break down those barriers. For you all, George and Gail, who was that person that put that battery in your back and told you to keep going, keep persevering to overcome any kind of obstacle?
I can tell you readily, it was my father. My dad had my number. He knew all he had to do was tell me something that I couldn't do. Game on. My mom was quiet and soft-spoken, so they were my true advocates. They taught me, first of all, you got to have humility. You got to learn to be humble. You got to learn to love other people. But I say to you, I was raised in a God-fearing family, so therefore, I trusted and believed as my mom and dad did. So you didn't accomplish anything by telling me you can't, because believe it or not, as a young girl, I did not know the word can't existed until I got in school and started making contractions. My sister told me can't is not a word. So don't ever say you can't. We must try. And that's the way I taught children for 35 years when I went into the teaching arena. Of course, I did other things before then. I was in the science and medical field for years. And then, of course, when I started to have my own babies, I need to do something different, so I need somebody to keep them. So I built my own school downtown on Fisher Street. But my parents were truly my advocates. They encouraged me all the time. You know, my grandfather was, I called my grandfather even when I was here, and I'd say, Papa, I've got a really tough test. And he says, that's okay. Don't even worry about it. We'll pray about it. So I say that to you. Don't worry about it. Pray about it. Work hard to achieve anything it is that you want. But my true advocates were my parents.
George?
For me, it was my grandma. My grandmother meant the world to me. And one of the things that she shared with me was the importance of community. And so if I could paraphrase, what she instilled in me, it would be, first, develop your board of directors. Your board of directors are people that consist of your supporters. These are people that pump air into your tires, especially when your tires are low. They also consist of mentors. Now, mentors are folks that are there, they're put in your life to help you develop a specific talent or skill or ability. And they may flow in and out of your life. And then there's coaches. Now, coaches, they literally sit back and they play every role. They play supporters, they play mentors, they play the role of a sponsor. And sometimes you may feel like they're hating on you, but know that a coach's role is to take you from wherever you're at to the next level. And then lastly, there's sponsors. Now, sponsors are people that can do more for you than you can ever do for yourself because they traverse in different spaces. And they bring up your name when you're not in the room. And lastly, with that being said, just know that you may never, ever know that you have a sponsor. So always try to be out there putting good stuff in the universe.
Amen. Yes. All right, so Donald, I want to start with you on this one. If everybody didn't know, Donald was the very first president of what was then known as the Black Cultural Society, now known as BSU. And the question that I have to ask, and I think it's on a lot of people's minds, how does it feel to know that you were the first at doing something in the moment? And then also, what kind of feeling do you get when you know that you helped inspire others coming behind you, if you did at all?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to share a story with you. I was born in Danville, Virginia. And in 1963 is a thing called Bloody Monday happened, where civil rights and a lot of the black people in my community were beat up and hosed and weren't able to be part. We just had to go to the back of the restaurant to get our food. Well, in 1964, my younger brother, Wesley, and myself, we were the first black kids to play organized football, Pop Warner football in Danville, Virginia. And we won the city championship with that team. My brother and I used to catch the bus every day to ride to Blue Park, which was across town, because none of the teams in my area would let us play because we were black. That year, we won the citywide championship, and then we came back and played the All-Star team, which they put all the teams together. They took their best players. We beat them in that. That showed me that I had the talent and enthusiasm to do whatever I needed to do. My father pushed me that way, that we would always be able to do what you need to do. My sister, who is here today, she was such an inspiration to me all my life because she took the time to tell me. She was a great student in school, and every time I went to a class, the teacher would say, well, why are you not like Brenda? I said, because I'm not Brenda, but she was such an inspiration to me. But the thing that's more important to me is that being the first is okay because you just happen to be there. It's not something that you were able to do, but because you were just there. But being the first is very important. Just like the Black Cultural Society. When we first started the Black Cultural Society here, we had nothing. We had nowhere to go. We would always be in the student union, playing pool. I said, why don't we get together and do something on campus? And the first meeting like this was held And at the time, my uncle, who was a professor at A&T in philosophy, he came and spoke to us. And it was so important that all the black students saw that what we were doing now was important to keep the flame going. And so once that got started, and I'm here to say that I'm so proud to see that the flame hasn't gone out. It's even gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm very proud of that. But being first is because you just happen to be there, or it's not something that you work towards being, I want to be the first. No, you just you just have to make sure that you are able to do the things you need to do, because there are people who are going to be there, that are going to support you in every way. When I was here, the cafeteria staff was supposed to be black. They were so supportive of us. It was unbelievable how you could go to school and have these people be a part of your life. I remember my freshman year, I was the only black on campus besides the basketball players. I had to walk all the way from Carolina dorm all the way to another dorm to have breakfast or lunch or dinner. I was by myself. No one would sit with me. Not one student would sit with me. I sat by myself for a whole month. And I realized that I can do this because I can do this by myself. And it didn't bother me. At the end of the month, I had 12 people sitting at the table with me. And that's the difference I like to see. When you can make an input pack into people's lives every day and be yourself, not be phony, but be yourself, authentic, it is one of the greatest rewards you can have in your life. Thank you.
Amen. Gail, do you have some words about being the first?
About being a first. To tell you honestly, I never really thought about being a first at first. You know, I was simply an 18-year-old that had been told she needed a college degree to make it in this life. And you can do it. All you got to say is, I want to do it. So I really didn't think about it the first couple of years that I was at Elon. It was only until everybody else started talking about being a first. In other words, I just came here to be a student. Was glad to be here and glad to know that I was going to have people here who would help me achieve that goal of being here. You know, so being a first wasn't at the top of my list of doing anything. The top of my list was to take those courses, do the best I could do, because my parents always said, the best you can do is all you can do. So I just didn't really think about being a first. I only thought about that later. And as you said, it's great to be a first. You know you're setting a precedent for other people. And you let these people know, hey, if she can do it, I can do it too. As a matter of fact, talk about being a first. I built one of the first organized child care centers built by a black person in Burlington, North Carolina on Fisher Street. It still sits there today. I've since sold it, but for me, that was just such an accomplishment because I found out later there were so many other young women that wanted to do what I had done. So they would come to me and ask me questions about being an entrepreneur, how I do this or how I do that. You know, it just takes, you mentioned bravery. I can't think of myself as being that brave. I mean, I wasn't truly scared by anybody, but I just did it. I guess it was something that I say nowadays to young people that was my destiny. That was my role. That was something that God had planned for me. That was to be my course and a challenge, that he has set forth for me to do. And the things that I did, I worked in different capacities. I wrote medical lab manuals in Hollywood, Florida. Of course, I worked at successfully educating my kids. I was telling Dr. here, I have kids that have dual degrees. I have kids that have doctorate degrees. So this grandma and ma is so proud of them, as I am of all of you. But, being a first, I just really didn't think about it very much until the later years. And I'm glad to have you young people, everyone that's here, honor me for being the first.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you, thank you. George and Janet, I want to lob this question at you all. You know, we talk about being the first, what it really means. Sometimes it's okay. You don't even realize that you're doing it. But in some ways, you know, that feeling doesn't always feel good, right? It could evoke some other emotions. So if y'all could try to describe in what ways can being the first to do something, being the first to go to college, being the first in your role, how can that be empowering or isolating?
I'll start. I too was not striving to be the first. My goal was to just accomplish my goals. But it was really wonderful to think about, you know, you accomplished your milestone, but you also accomplished a collective representation that matters to other people. So I want to talk about the empowering nature of being first. You can be a mentor. You can create a network that will support the people that will come after you. You can demonstrate operational or performance excellence because, you know, that excellence comes in all people. So it's really important that, you know, that you demonstrate that and that people see that, even if there are systemic barriers or systemic injustices. Being a first, I also really enjoy being able to change the culture a little bit of an institution to make it more diverse and more inclusive, and to maybe change some of the practices. Let me give you an example of one. I was working for a large defense contractor, and I had the opportunity to be on the search committee. This large defense contractor hired a ton of engineers every single year, hundreds of engineers. And so they had a minimum GPA, I think it was about 3.2. And so, you know, we sorted all of the students, their name, their universities, their GPA. And so we definitely took the candidates who had at least a 3.2. But then the committee sorted it again, and they sorted it by universities. And they only selected those that went to certain universities. And I noticed that there were 4.0 students who had gone to historically black colleges, and they were not the students that were selected. So I had to speak up. I had to say something that, you know, why are we doing this? Why is this institution only selecting, you know, maybe 3.2, 3.5 from these schools? And they talked about, oh, we only hire students who are from prestigious schools. And so I really had to help them understand that these students, these 4.0 students from historically black colleges, are very talented students. And so I was able to convince them, and there was some resistance, that we would interview all of the students, regardless of what university they went to, if they had a 3.2. And the conclusion is that even the ones who resisted it recognized that, yeah, they were missing some really talented students that they would have overlooked or not even interviewed. And so I was really proud of the fact that I was at the table and that I had the ability to change that prestige school hiring practice that they had.
Well, I think Janet said it all. I would like to just add one additional piece. So for those of you that may find yourselves being one of the first, once you get in the room, please leave the door open. And then make sure that you minimally bring 2 other people with you. And then continue to monitor the door to make sure that the door is open for others.
We got to give a round of applause for that. George just dropped the bar. He didn't even know it. Make sure you leave the door open. That was powerful, George. Thank you so much. I want to leave this panel on a note of hope, right? Especially with the world that we're living in and the journey that all these young people are going on. Being the first at something, it means a lot, but it also means that you leave a legacy, right? So if you all had to put it into some words, because I know it's hard to even put it into words, but what do you hope your legacy will be here at Elon on students, faculty, staff, and the community in general? And Donald, we can start with you.
I hope my legacy will be that I was a person who was willing to fight for what we needed or what he needed or what the school needed, that I didn't look at color, I looked at people when I talked to them. Color wasn't an issue with me. I hope that the Black Culture Society, which I have seen today and what I see here today is so outstanding that when we first started this program, no one saw this. I saw this as an avenue to get into black fraternities and sororities on campus. That was one of my goals as being starting the Black Culture Society. We just didn't have enough people to be involved in it. But now the legacy I like to leave here is that you can do anything you want to do. You're not controlled by borders. You're not controlled by other people. You're controlled by yourself. And when you realize that you control yourself, the legacy is always there, it's always going to be there, it's always going to be rebuilt through you. And I think people really do appreciate the Black Culture Society and now this organization, which is the same organization. But the legacy that I want to be remembered is that a person who would not accept no for an answer, but move on and to help as many people as I could with what I had. Thank you.
Ms. Janet, same question to you.
I think the legacy that I want to leave here at Elon is the legacy that already exists, a legacy of strong stewardship, a legacy that Elon has of being one of the best run institutions in the nation. I'm really proud of that. I really want to make sure that Elon continues to maintain its financial stability, to provide the resources in excellence. Do you know Elon's #1 in teaching 5 years in a row? Did you know that? So they provide the excellence in teaching and the facilities and the lab and the spaces. But not only that, I want to leave a legacy where we continue to support you as an individual, your health and your well-being, so that you know, when you think about yourself, are you okay? Do you have that community, social, emotional, physical, financial, and purpose well-being? All those resources are here for you to help you through your journey. So I want to leave a legacy of being very supporting being very student-centric, and helping you be the world's next leaders.
I would like my legacy to say that I gave all of me, 200%, to the university when I was here. All that I was able to give. I haven't worked in any capacity here as far as teaching and that kind of thing, but I have kept touch with people that worked here on a day-to-day basis. And I am always excited about the new things that I see when I come here. So I want my legacy to be I didn't back down from any challenge, even being a first and being an only one of me that was here at that time, the only female, no other female students to communicate with for at least 2 years. But I want to be known as the person who gave it her all, my very best, and of course hope that all of the people that came after me were gonna do their very best. I can say for the most part I enjoyed being here. I think you may have asked us a question about did we ever feel isolated and that kind of thing. No, I didn't feel isolated. I just sat in my 57 Chevy, ate my Pepsi-Cola moon pie. You understand? And I stayed steadfast to the dream. And the dream was to have that degree. Because once I knew I had that piece of paper, I could move to other arenas and do other things. I met people very well, I got to know quite a few students here. And it's like the young man said here, they needed to get to know me, because that's a big reason for people not, or making up a decision about whether they want to be a part of your life or not. They need to get to know us, people of color. They need to know us. They need to know about our background and our circumstances, because I was a poor girl. Didn't matter much to me. I got to do the things that I needed to do. You know, had to work to make the money to come to school, but I just want to leave a legacy of being the person that worked hard. She put forth her best effort when she was there, you know, to set a precedence for other kids to look at that and say, well, she went, I can go too. And some of you young people have so much more to lean on than I did. So my legacy is just knowing that I did the best with what I had when I was here. And I used that to make my life a successful one. You know, I tell my kids, I just really want to be known as the best mom, the best grandma, and the best great-grandma. Simple as that.
George, same question to you.
For me, it's fairly simple. I just would like, for those things that I touch, those things that I care about, that when I leave them, that maybe because of something I said or did, I helped the place, I helped the people be just a little bit better after I left. And so that's one. Another legacy would be that I see you. I see each and every one of you beautiful people. And so when you see me walking up and down, you know, the beautiful hallowed halls of Elon University, please see me. And then lastly, know that it's all a game. It's all a game. There are people that play the game. There are those that watch the game. And then there's the poor suckers that don't realize that a game is being played. And therefore, they're being played. So what I ask each and every one of us to do, when we go into a space, try to understand those written rules, but maybe almost more importantly, let's try to understand the unwritten rules. And when all is said and done, when things are not right, let's be a change agent that changed the game.
I hope somebody was writing down what George just said. Clock it, right? Can we give one more warm round of applause for our panelists, please? Please. Yes. Yes. Yes.